Hey everyone, this is Rabbit Ears Vlog of Animation Bliss, and today we're going to do something a little different. This is going to be our underrated, obscure cartoons corner, where we talk about cartoons that were obscured or were very underrated, and we pick out different types of cartoons that were very underrated or obscure and show them to everybody else, so that way they get a chance to be well known among the YouTube community. So I guess I start off with this lost gem called Fire and Ice. And this film was basically directed by Ralph Bakshi and made in 1983. And if you're a fan of Ralph Bakski's work, I'm surprised that this film is not that well known. Compared to Fritz, his other works like Fritz the Cat and Cool World. This is a type of animated movie that I had for years, and again, this is a film that wasn't heavily discussed a lot when it comes to Ralph Bakski's films. I hope I pronounced his name right. But I'll just explain what this movie is all about by reading the summary on the back. So here we go. Fire and Ice, an animated adventure film, is the work of the imaginations of Ralph Bakshi and Frank Frazetta, masters of fantasy and illustration. A tiny village is destroyed by a surging glacier, which serves as a deadly domain for the evil Ice Lord Necron. The only survivor is a young warrior, Lauren, who vows to avenge this act of destruction. The evil continues, however, as Necron's palace of ice heads straight towards Fire Keep, the great fortress ruled by the good King Geralt. When Geralt's beautiful daughter Tigra is abducted by Necron's subhuman ape-like creatures, Lauren begins a daring search for her. What results is a tense animated battle between good and evil, surrounded by the mystical elements of the ancient past. Excuse me. So that's basically what the film's all about. So what are some things I liked about the film? I liked the characters in this film. I liked the character of Lauren. I'm surprised that they actually used a character who's not a part of the royal family. In this case, Fire Keep. He's just a regular villager whose home was destroyed by Necron, and he decides to go ahead and avenge his village when it got destroyed by Necron, while searching for Tigra at the same time. So I like the fact that we get a hero in Lauren and how he goes out there and starts fighting off Necron's minions and also trying to save Tigra at the same time. So I do like Lauren's character as the hero of the story. Excuse me. I also like the character of Tigra herself. I one of the things I didn't like about her character is that she wasn't developed as well as she could be, but I guess I'll explain more about that in the things I didn't like about this movie. But I like the fact that Tigra is a strong female character who's trying to escape from Necron's minions after she gets kidnapped by them. And I like the fact that she meets up with Lauren, and they start this friendship with each other. So she's like a different type of princess that I see from any other animated film, and I like that. I like the fact that this film is kind of dark and gritty at the same time, and at the same time as it's being a fantasy film, because it's like something really different back then. Like, this film was made in 1983 at a time where most animated films would be G-rated for most part, or at least not dark and gritty. And this was one of the few animated films I saw when I was little that was pretty dark and gritty. It was pretty violent, with maybe not too violent, but there were a lot of scenes of people being cut up and stuff like that. So it was very interesting to me at the time because I never saw a lot of anime films that were that dark and gritty. And this film was pretty dark and gritty for its time. So that was something that really stand out to me when I was watching this movie. I also like the world that was created. I like the two kingdoms of Fire Keep and the Ice Lord, or the Ice Kingdom. I like those two kingdoms because it provides a lot of creative elements to the story, like more fantasy elements. You got an ice kingdom, you got a fire kingdom, and that was something I always enjoyed about this movie, is that you got these two kingdoms that are displaying different elements like ice and fire, and fighting, and they're fighting each other. So that was something I really liked about the movie, was the fantasy elements, while it's still combining with the dark and gritty nature of the fight scenes that Lauren has to go through when he's trying to fight off Necron's minions. Um Now, here's some things that I didn't like about the film. First of all, I felt like most of the characters were flat as far as character development goes. Like I mentioned, like I mentioned with Tigra. I felt like she could have been developed a little more as a character instead of being kidnapped for the most part. And the same thing with Lon. I like to hear more about Lon's story than him just going after Necron for killing off all the people of his village. And I also felt like his relationship with Tigra at when they met each other towards the end, I felt like they should have met each other a little earlier in the film, so we get a good scope on their relationship. Like maybe they could have started off hating each other and then they start liking each other as the film progresses, and then they end up loving each other towards the film's end. That sort of progression I would like to see. And I felt like their relationship in this movie was like kind of, like thought of at the last second. Like they just thought, oh, well, here's a princess and here's a guy, here's a warrior who just happened to come together all at once. So I was like, well, they could have had them meet each other at the very beginning so we could get a better development for the relationship. So those are some things I didn't like about the film. I forgot something. Another thing I did like about this film was that I liked the animation. I think the animation was very well done. The rotoscoping was used in this for the animation, so it made the characters move very realistically, and I like that. It really made me believe all the fight scenes that were going on and the character movements that they have when they were running or they were talking to each other. I felt like it felt so realistic, and I really liked that. So this movie is rated PG, which is very unusual for 1983 because back then in the 1980s, a lot of animated films were rated G, despite the content that was in it. Like for example, The Last Unicorn that was actually rated G, even though I've seen the movie before and there was some language and a little scary content in it, and I was like, well, the movie should have been a light PG, not a G rated film, because again, there was some language and scary content in it. But I'm glad that this film was rated PG because there is some there is some violence, there is some partial nudity, and there is some language in this film that I think wouldn't go over well with some of the kids or with the kid audience. So I think a PG rating was an appropriate rating for this type of film. Now, what I usually am I going to rate this movie? No, I'm not going to rate the movie. I'm going to be more like, do I recommend this film or not? Because I do a lot of movie reviews on my own channel, so it's like I wouldn't want to repeat the ratings here and again on this channel. So do I recommend this film or not? Yes, I definitely recommend this film. If you're a huge fan of Ralph Bakski's work, or if you love mature animation, I think this movie is great for that. It's a shame that this movie is kind of underrated and not a lot of people know about it, even though Ralph Bakshi is a very well-known animator for his work with Fritz the Cat and Cool World. And I'm surprised that this animated film went by under the radar a bit. But I would definitely recommend this film for anybody who's a huge fan of Ralph Bakski's work and is a huge fan of mature animation. I think they got this out on DVD already. It's on VHS because I had this for a while now. But I think they have this out on DVD, so you can go ahead and check out this movie whenever you want to. I think it's a great film. And if you're a fan, again, if you're a fan of mature animation and Ralph Bakski's work, I think you will enjoy this film. Well, that's it for this week's obscure or underrated animated animation corner. And if there's any obscure or underrated animation films that you want to talk to us about, please feel free to comment below and we'll see what we can do about it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Rabbit's blog of Animation Bliss, and I'll see you later.